"Mike, you're just not big enough for the life I want," Ashley said one evening, her tone casual, like she was talking about the weather. She held a glass of chilled Pinot Grigio, the kind of wine that cost more than I used to spend on a whole bottle of whiskey. Those words lingered in the air of our kitchen, the same kitchen I had rebuilt with my own hands 2 summers ago. She scrolled her phone absent-mindedly, probably waiting for a message from him. That was only last week. That was the moment I realized my 10-year marriage was done. But honestly, the cracks had been there long before those words came out of her mouth. A year earlier, Ashley Collins was still my wife, mother of our 2 kids, and a part-time real estate agent who mainly worked with retirees and young couples. Then things shifted. She landed a massive listing for a tech executive's mansion, sold it for millions over the asking price, and overnight she became somebody in the local real estate market. I was proud of her, no question. This was the same woman who once clipped coupons and scheduled grocery runs around weekly sales. Now, her commissions towered over my construction manager's paycheck. I would come home with drywall dust still in my hair, and she would already be dressed in expensive designer outfits I had never seen before, talking about networking events and closing deals. "You should come tonight," she'd say, fastening an earring that cost more than my truck payment. "The Weston Group is hosting at the Meridian Club." So I'd pull on my best polo shirt and khakis and show up, only for her to introduce me quickly and then vanish into the crowd. I'd stand by the bar, watching her transform into someone I didn't recognize, laughing too loud, leaning in close, touching arms, whispering secrets to men I didn't know. By February, the weekend trips started. "Client wants to tour properties in Napa," she explained while tossing clothes into a Louis Vuitton overnight bag that appeared one day out of nowhere. "Huge commission if I land this one." Meanwhile, I stayed home with Ethan and Lily, soccer practice, birthday parties, homework. Ashley filled her Instagram with rooftop shots from luxury hotels, cocktails in hand, city lights twinkling behind her. The kids eventually stopped asking when Mom was coming home. The credit card statements told their own story. Nobu. The French Laundry. Trendy bars with names like Violet Hour and The Alchemist. Always 2 meals. Always top-shelf wine. Whenever I asked, she dismissed me with a wave. "Cost of doing business, Mike. You have to spend money to make money." But it was the little things that gutted me. The way she shifted away from me in bed. How she started leaving for the gym before sunrise, yet came back with perfect hair and flawless makeup. The new perfume, something French and complicated, replaced the sweet vanilla spray she had worn since college. Then came last Thursday. She left her phone face up on the table, while she went to help Lily with homework. The screen lit up, and a message preview hit me like a hammer. "David Weston, can't wait for this weekend." Same suite? My chest tightened. David Weston, the developer she was always talking about. Silver hair, Porsche driver, the man who seemed to own the city. "Who's texting you?" I asked when she came back, keeping my voice steady like I did when subcontractors tried to test me. Her eyes flickered panic, irritation, something she couldn't hide fast enough. Then the mask slipped back into place. "Just David about the Riverside project," she said smoothly, sliding the phone into her pocket. "We've got the final walkthrough this Saturday with the Hong Kong investors." I stared at her. "In the same suite?" She looked at me with those sharp green eyes, the same eyes that once made me feel like I was her entire universe. Now they were different, calculating, sizing me up like I might ruin whatever secret empire she was building without me. "Conference suite at the Marriott downtown," she said smoothly. "It's where we always meet clients." That night, I laid in bed beside her, staring at the ceiling, listening to her steady breathing, and I realized something that hit me harder than anything else. My wife had become a skilled liar. Or maybe she had always been good at it, and I had been too blind, too trusting to notice. The woman lying inches from me, dressed in designer clothes, carrying luxury bags, jetting off on weekend getaways, wasn't the girl I had married in our friend's backyard a decade ago. She was chasing something bigger, and apparently, I wasn't enough to be part of it. After that night, I stopped pretending not to see. I started paying attention, really paying attention. No more of that easy trust of a husband who thought love was enough. This was different now. This was me watching, studying, admitting the truth I had been avoiding for months. Ashley didn't notice the shift. She was too busy trying to reinvent herself into whoever she thought she needed to be. It began small, like any investigation. She'd say she was working late at the office, but her phone's location showed her at the Meridian Club. She'd post, "Grinding at the office," on Instagram while our credit card got swiped at some overpriced downtown wine bar. I became the detective in my own house, and once I opened my eyes, the evidence was everywhere. Technology did most of the heavy lifting. Ashley had always been careless with her passwords. She used the same one for everything, our anniversary date. And she never bothered to turn off the automatic backup on her phone that synced to the laptop we shared. Why would she? I hardly ever touched it unless I was paying bills or checking the Yankees score. One Tuesday night, while she was off at another networking dinner, I sat alone at the dining room table with a cold beer and the laptop. The kids were asleep upstairs. I told myself I was just going to look over the bank account. That was the lie I fed myself. But instead of bank statements, I clicked into the photo folder. Her recent backups were sitting right there, waiting. At first it was harmless. Pictures of her at open houses, smiling with clients, group shots with her team. Then I scrolled back to April, and my stomach turned to stone. Hotel room selfies. Ashley in lingerie I had never seen before. David Weston in frame, silver hair and smug grin, arm around her waist in one picture, her hand on his chest in another. There were photos of them in restaurants, bars, even in his Tesla, the same car I'd seen parked across two spaces in the company lot. But it wasn't just the places. It was the way they looked at each other. Like they had a private world, a secret language. They did have a secret. They just didn't know it wasn't a secret anymore. Then I opened the messages. And those were worse than the photos. I sat there for hours, reading the wreckage of my marriage in little blue and gray bubbles. Ashley, God, I needed that. Mike would never think to book a suite at the St. Regis. David, you deserve to be treated like a queen, not stuck in the suburbs with someone who doesn't see your true potential. Ashley, he's stable. A good provider. Safe. David, safe is just another word for boring, baby. Ashley, I know. Trust me, I know. 10 years of safe. 10 years of the same conversations, the same Friday night pizza, the same positions. I had to stop reading. My chest was tight, my hands shaking. I stumbled into the bathroom, turned on the cold tap, and splashed water over my face until it stung. That morning, Ashley and I had been intimate, or at least I thought we had. But now it felt like I had just been another box on her checklist, something to get through before moving on to what she really wanted. When I finally forced myself back to the laptop, I kept scrolling, screenshotting everything I saw. David, leave him. Move in with me. We'll build something great together. Ashley, it's not that simple. There's the house, the kids, 10 years of assets. David, I've got lawyers. You'd get half of everything, plus child support. Mike seems like the kind of guy who would just fold. Ashley, he is. He's too small for my big plans. But I need to time this right. Maybe after the Weston Heights project closes. There it was. In writing. Her own words. From 2 months ago. I copied every last thing, photos, texts, even emails where business meetings were obviously nothing but excuses. I uploaded it all to a private cloud drive, then made duplicate copies on a separate email account. And then something strange happened. I laughed. Not because anything about this was funny, but because Ashley had completely underestimated me. She thought I was still safe, Mike, the boring husband who would beg, cry, and fall apart when she finally dumped me. She thought I'd roll over and let her walk away with everything. She was dead wrong. The very next morning I played my role. Made breakfast like always. Scrambled eggs for Ethan, pancakes for Lily. Ashley breezed through the kitchen in her gym clothes, kissed me on the cheek like she always did, a gesture that had somehow become hollow, and said she had a showing that might run late. No problem, I said, flipping another pancake. Take your time. For a second she paused, like maybe she heard something different in my voice. But then her phone buzzed, probably David, and she was out the door. After dropping the kids at school, I parked in the lot and sat in my truck, staring at my wedding band. That simple gold ring she'd slid onto my finger when we were both young, broke, and crazy in love. I picked up my phone and called Richardson and Associates, the law firm our company used for contracts. I need a divorce attorney, I told the receptionist. The best you've got. Are you looking to file, or has your spouse already started proceedings? She asked politely. I'm looking to win, I said flatly. The appointment was scheduled for Thursday. Until then, I needed more leverage. And Ashley was about to hand me plenty of it without realizing. See, she wasn't wrong about me being a small part of her plans. But she forgot something about construction. Before you can build something new, you have to know exactly how to tear down the old structure. You have to identify the load-bearing walls, the weak spots, the hidden cracks. And I had just found all of hers. That's when I met Catherine Walsh. She didn't look like a private investigator. She looked like someone's grandma, silver hair, soft voice, cardigan covered in cats. Maybe that's why she was so effective. People never saw her coming. I don't need you to prove she's cheating, I told her in her cramped office above a Chinese restaurant. I slid her a flash drive. I already have more than enough. She adjusted her glasses and looked me in the eye. Then what exactly do you want, Mr. Miller? I want documentation of what this affair is doing to my family, I said. Financial records that show her misusing our assets. Proof of neglect when it comes to the kids. Things that actually matter in court, not just to my pride. Catherine smiled, only now she didn't look grandmotherly at all. You're thinking strategically. Good. Most men in your situation just want a photo of them in a hotel room. But that doesn't win cases. You want to win, not just hurt her. I want my kids, I said quietly. I want my house. And I want her to get exactly what she deserves. Nothing more. Nothing less. That, she said firmly, I can help you with. While Catherine built her case, I built mine. The irony was that I became the perfect husband. When Ashley forgot to pick Ethan up from soccer because she was too busy drinking wine with David, I let the coach call her 3 times before I stepped in to save the day. And I documented every instance, every missed pickup, every broken promise, every late night she stumbled home reeking of expensive wine and his cologne. Big client dinner, Ashley would say when she slipped through the door late at night. By then, she didn't even bother to make it sound believable. I know how it is, I'd answer. And the truth was, I really did know. Catherine's first report landed 2 weeks later, and it was brutal. David Weston wasn't some polished business genius. He was a con man with a shiny watch. 3 failed marriages. 2 bankruptcies hidden under layers of shell companies. Lawsuits for broken contracts. Even a sexual harassment claim that had been swept under the rug with a payout. He's using your wife, Catherine said plainly, flipping through the file. That's his pattern. He burns through women, partners, anyone who can benefit him. She's already brought him 3 major listings. When her network's dry, he'll disappear. How long does she have? I asked. Based on his history? Catherine peered over her glasses. 6 months from the start. You're already halfway there. I didn't feel jealous anymore. That emotion had burned away weeks ago. What I felt now was colder. Satisfaction. Ashley thought she was trading up, but she'd really just signed on to be Weston's next casualty. The financial evidence hit even harder. Ashley had been siphoning money from our joint account into one she thought I didn't know about. She padded expense reports, disguised personal dinners as business strategy meetings. Catherine even had security footage of her and David at an ATM, laughing as they pulled out cash for a Vegas getaway. But the most devastating piece of evidence wasn't about money, it was about the kids. Ashley had missed a dozen school events in just 2 months. Ethan's soccer games. Lily's recital. She skipped Emma's birthday planning meeting. She even showed up late to a parent-teacher conference because she was sitting in a hotel bar with David. Catherine had it all documented, receipts, timestamps, even video. So, I kept playing the part. The patient husband. The dependable dad. Safe. Stable. The role Ashley thought she'd outgrown. And then it happened. The moment I'd been waiting for. She made dinner on a Wednesday night. First time in months. The kids were at my mom's. She sat across from me with her practiced expression. "Mike, we need to talk." I set my fork down and met her eyes. "We've grown apart," she said carefully. "We want different things now. I think maybe we should consider a separation." 10 years of marriage reduced to a corporate memo. "You're right," I said. Ashley blinked, thrown off. What?" "You're right. We should divorce." Her face flickered, shock, suspicion, then relief. She had expected a fight. Tears. Pleading. Instead, I was giving her what she wanted, which made her uneasy. "We can keep this amicable." She rushed out. 50-50 split. Shared custody. No need for court battles. "Of course." I nodded. "Whatever you think is fair." Her shoulders relaxed. She even smiled, reaching across to squeeze my hand. "I knew you'd understand. You've always been so reasonable." Reasonable. Boring. Safe. Small. "When are you planning to file?" I asked calmly, cutting another bite of chicken. "Maybe next month. I just need to get a few things in order first," she said. Translation: hide more assets. Move more money. Catherine was already tracking every dollar. "No rush," I said softly. "Take your time." Ashley left that night, claiming she was going to her sister's. Catherine had already confirmed she had a key to David's condo. She kissed me on the cheek before walking out, told me we'd always be friends, that she'd always care about me. As soon as her taillights disappeared, I picked up the phone. "File tomorrow," I told my attorney. "Everything we discussed." "Are you sure?" "Once we file, there's no going back." I thought about Ashley in that hotel room, laughing about me. About her calling me small. About Weston thinking he'd landed his next prize. "File it," I said. "And make sure she's served at her office." The web was complete. Now I just had to wait for the spider's prey to realize it was already trapped. That Monday morning came bright and crisp, one of those perfect spring days that tricks you into thinking everything's going to be okay. Ashley left early, humming to herself, probably imagining her new life with Weston. She kissed Ethan and Lily goodbye, told them to be good for Daddy, and drove off in the BMW she'd leased without so much as a conversation. The process server walked into Weston Realty at exactly 11:47 a.m. I remember the time because by 11:53, my phone lit up with Ashley's name. She was screaming so loudly I had to hold the phone away from my ear. I was out at a job site with my foreman, going over blueprints. I stepped outside, boots crunching gravel, and answered. "What the hell did you do?" she yelled. In 12 years together, I'd never once heard her curse at me. "You said we'd do this amicably," she snapped. "We are," I replied evenly. "I'm just making sure everything is organized, just like you said you needed. In front of my colleagues? In front of clients? You vindictive son of a—" she started. "Ashley," I said, keeping my voice calm and professional. "It's all in the filing. Your attorney will look it over, and then we can discuss." "What filing?" she demanded. I heard papers rustling on her end, followed by silence. She was reading. The affair evidence. The financial records. The parenting neglect. All of it. Her voice came out small, strangled. How did you get this? You backed up your phone to our laptop, I explained. You were never great with technology. The line went quiet so long I thought she'd hung up. Finally, she whispered, Mike, please, we can talk. I made a mistake. Several mistakes, I corrected. And they're all documented. From here on, let's have our lawyers handle this. I ended the call and went right back to my blueprints. By that afternoon, her polished little world began to unravel. 2 big clients pulled their listings, not wanting to be caught in the drama. Her Instagram, usually packed with staged perfection and fake smiles, went silent. David Weston, true to his pattern, cut ties the second things got messy. Catherine sent me screenshots of their exchange. Ashley, the divorce papers came. Mike knows everything. David, everything? Ashley, about us. The hotels. All of it. David, I think we should take a break. This is a lot to process. Ashley, a break? You said you loved me? You said we'd build an empire. David, I need to focus on business. The Riverside deal is at a critical stage. Ashley, are you kidding me? David, don't contact me again. If you do, I'll consider it harassment. Just like that, Prince Charming turned back into what he really was, a middle-aged scam artist who wanted fun without responsibility. Ashley had burned her marriage to the ground for a man who blocked her number the moment the fire got too hot. On Tuesday, she tried coming by the house while I was at work, probably hoping to grab valuables or important files. But I had already changed the locks and installed cameras. I sat in my truck watching the feed on my phone as she stood on the porch. Our porch, the one I built with my own hands, jiggling her key again and again. Finally, she sank down on the steps and cried. By Wednesday, her lawyer called mine. They wanted to negotiate. Ashley would admit to the affair, if I agreed to bury the financial fraud. She'd even give up custody, as long as she kept her car and half our savings. My lawyer didn't flinch. Counteroffer, she keeps the car, gets $5,000, and supervised visitation every other weekend. Otherwise, we take everything to court. On Thursday, the plot twisted again. I got a call from someone I didn't expect, David Weston's wife. Yes, wife. Turns out, the man who promised Ashley a shiny new empire had never actually divorced his third wife. She'd been trying to serve him papers for years but couldn't nail down adultery strong enough to void their prenup. I hear you have photos, she said. I might, I replied. I'll pay you for them, she offered. I don't want your money, I told her. But if you need them for your case, I'll send them for free. She actually laughed. So you're destroying him for nothing? I'm not destroying anyone, I said. I'm just letting people live with the consequences they created. By Friday, Ashley made one last attempt. She showed up at Ethan's soccer practice, looking like she'd aged 5 years in 5 days. Designer outfits swapped out for plain jeans and a sweatshirt. Her BMW sat in the parking lot, but even that seemed smaller somehow, like her shine had dulled overnight. Can we talk? She asked softly. I kept my eyes on Ethan, who was lining up penalty kicks. Our lawyers are talking. Mike, please, she begged. I messed up. I know I did. But 10 years, doesn't that mean anything to you? It meant everything to me, I said flatly. But apparently I was too small for your big plans. She flinched, her eyes wet. I was drunk when I wrote that. I didn't mean it. You meant it, I said. And you were right. I am small. I've got small dreams, just a nice house, happy kids, a wife who actually loves me. Friday night pizza. Movie nights. That's all I ever wanted. That's all I ever wanted, I told her. I wanted more, Ashley admitted. And how'd that work out for you? I asked. That was it. She broke down, full-body sobs, messy and raw, loud enough that other parents turned their heads. But I didn't reach for her. I couldn't. The woman crying next to me wasn't my wife. My wife had been gone for months, lost somewhere between the first hotel room and the last secret text. The final showdown came in my attorney's conference room. Ashley sat slumped in her chair, defeated. Her lawyer looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. And David Weston? Nowhere in sight. Catherine had already confirmed he'd moved on to his next investment. The settlement was harsh, but fair. I kept the house, custody of the kids, and most of our savings. Ashley walked away with her car, her clothes, and just enough money to start fresh. The so-called business she and Weston had built was collapsing already. Clients were bailing, and when he left her, they followed him. "Anything else either of you want to say?" the mediator asked. Ashley looked across the table at me. For just a second, I saw the girl I had married, young, bright-eyed, full of dreams. But that girl had morphed into someone else. Someone who confused wanting more with being owed more. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I know," I said quietly. And I was sorry, too. Sorry she'd torched our family chasing a fantasy. Sorry she'd traded something real for something hollow. Sorry she'd only realized too late that some things, once broken, can't be fixed. At 3:47 p.m. that Friday, the divorce was final. Her hands trembled as she signed. Mine didn't. Outside, she turned to me one last time. "What am I supposed to do now?" "Whatever you want," I said. "You're free to chase your big plans." She let out a bitter laugh. "They weren't that big after all, were they?" "No," I agreed. "They weren't." I drove home to my small house, my small dreams, and waited for my kids to get back from school. Ashley drove off in her BMW, heading toward a one-bedroom on the wrong side of town. Plenty of time there to think about the empire she tried to build on someone else's foundation. 6 months later, I'm pushing Sophia on the swing set I'd built in the backyard, the same yard where Ashley and I said our vows 11 years ago. Ethan is kicking soccer balls against the fence. Lily sits on the deck grading papers, pausing now and then to smile at us. Lily teaches 4th grade at Ethan's school. We met at a parent-teacher conference Ashley skipped. Coffee turned into long conversations, and we realized we wanted the same things: stability, family, Friday night pizza. She laughs at my construction stories. She doesn't mind that I rotate the same 3 restaurants. She fits into our life like she was always supposed to be there. Ashley still sees the kids every other weekend. She drives a Honda Civic now, the BMW was repossessed. She works at a tiny real estate office that handles rentals and foreclosures. Weston? He's back in the papers with a new woman, younger each time. Ashley never mentions him. Last weekend, when she dropped the kids off, she lingered on the porch. "The house looks good," she said. "You painted." "Same color, just fresher," I told her. She glanced through the window. Inside, Lily was helping Sophia with a school project. Something flickered across Ashley's face. Not jealousy. More like recognition. "She seems nice," Ashley said. "She is," I replied. "Does she make you happy?" "She doesn't make me feel small," I answered. Ashley winced, then tried to smile. "I really am sorry, Mike. For all of it." "I know." She hesitated, then asked, Do you think I was always this person? Or did I become her?" It was the first real question she'd asked in years. The first time she'd shown real reflection. "I think you were always ambitious," I told her carefully. "But somewhere along the way, you confused ambition with entitlement. You thought you deserved more instead of working for more." Her eyes filled with tears. "I had everything, didn't I? And I threw it away for nothing." "Not nothing," I said. And I left it at that. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next videos.